So they just released a biopic about David Bowie, and no one knows that it came out. Is there a reason for that? Yes. Yes. Yes, there is.
There's only one guy at Mercury who doesn't hate your new record with every bone in his body.
David Bowie, I presume. Ron Oberman, Mercury Records.
We got a packed couple weeks coming up. Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, and then out to LA.
I think we can make it work. All it takes is one believer to change the world. And we got two.
Two?
You believe in yourself, don't you?
Stardust, no relation to the 2007 film, is a biopic about David Bowie, starring Johnny Flynn as David Bowie, also starring Marc Maron. It is the story of David Bowie coming to America for the first time. It's kind of a road trip movie of him going around, not doing shows because he wasn't allowed to play shows, but playing in people's houses. It shows flashbacks of his brother and his brother's schizophrenia, which I guess helped him create Ziggy Stardust, and that's what the movie's about. It just covers this one specific time period in the 60s, I believe, that shows him kind of become the Ziggy Stardust that we know today. I'm a fan of David Bowie. I enjoy his work. I'm not a David Bowie buff. I don't know every single song of David Bowie, but I do really enjoy his work. I knew that this was coming out because they announced it kind of around the time that the Elton John movie came out, Rocketman, and when Bohemian Rhapsody came out, because they kind of thought this was the next logical step. You just made an Elton John movie that was very successful. You made a Queen movie that was a mega hit, so make a David Bowie movie. That makes a lot of sense. This was originally going to be in theaters. I know IFC bought the rights and then released it on VOD. I think it was in some theaters that are open right now. And although I didn't hear much about it and I heard the word was kind of mixed, I was looking forward to this because I like seeing movies about artists that I'm a big fan of. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go in. I don't know that much. Kind of what I told you is what I knew going into the movie. And I sat down, I was like, yeah, let's go, Stardust. This is probably the most boring movie that I've watched, probably this year. I didn't know you can make a movie about David Bowie and make it so bland and forgettable. That being said, it could be the most accurate film ever put on screen. I have no way of knowing that. I kind of doubt it. I think most of the performances are kind of bad. I wasn't alive at the time that this film takes place, so I don't know how David Bowie was back then, but his performance does not fit the David Bowie that we all know. But this is supposed to be about him becoming that David Bowie, so maybe he was like this back then. I'm not really sure. I can only really judge on the film itself. I find the actor who played David Bowie kind of bad, he feels disengaged, very unlikable. He doesn't really make me want to watch him. It's not like Taron Egerton, who I feel like did a great job portraying Elton John, even Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury, where you felt like, oh, he has his spirit. You feel him in there. Even like the early stuff for those characters, they still felt like the people that they were portraying. I never really felt like he was David Bowie. Even at the end of the movie where he becomes Ziggy Stardust, spoilers for a film about real events, when he becomes Ziggy Stardust, I was like, okay, this is where it's going to get rocking and rolling. And, you know, then the movie ends. Even then, I was like, you don't feel like David Bowie. You feel like a guy who dressed up like David Bowie for Halloween. They made it feel like David Bowie just had a terrible, terrible time in America. Nothing went right. No one cared about him. And that might have been true, but people I've talked to that were alive back then told me people knew who David Bowie was at this time. It wasn't like David Bowie was a nobody. He already made Man Who Sold the World and a couple other albums, so he was a known artist. But a lot of this movie kind of seems like the people who wrote it hate these biopics because a lot of it is Americans telling Marc Maron. Marc Maron plays his manager in a very Marc Maron-esque role. If you've seen Marc Maron in anything, you've seen this performance. He's trying to get Rolling Stone writers and all these different people to interview David Bowie, and they're all very angry with Marc Maron because it's supposed to be he's done this before with British rockers, and they all get mad at him and say, no more British rockers coming to America. Who cares about this? Nobody wants them. And I guess it's supposed to be oh, he proved them all wrong at a time where people didn't want any more British rockers coming to America. But it felt more like the writer saying, I'm tired of these biopics, so I'm going to make something very different. I'm all for making biopics different because biopics have a very specific formula. Patrick H. Willems did a really great video on that, so I recommend checking that out. This is trying to do something different because you're just taking one moment of Bowie's career, and I thought that was a good idea. Watching it, I think that was a terrible idea because I don't know what the point of making this movie was. And there's some very serious stuff about his family's history with schizophrenia and how David Bowie doesn't want to become David Bowie. And a lot of it just felt like something that a writer would make up to create more conflict, but I don't know. Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocketman weren't 100% accurate, but at least they made for a more interesting story. I don't find anything about this interesting. I find the performances kind of bland, and it's a very meh, lukewarm movie. There's not really anything I like about it. I don't think it's shot well. I don't think it's edited well. The music isn't even that great. You'd think that the music would be great because it's a David Bowie movie. I don't think the music is even that great. It's just kind of like a paint-by-numbers road trip movie that just happens to feature David Bowie. I don't recommend anyone watching this movie. If you're a really big David Bowie fan, you're gonna watch it. There's no reason to. Wait till it's on streaming and it's free. Do not pay money to watch Stardust. I would give Stardust a 2 out of 10. There's really nothing positive about this movie. I was kind of annoyed watching it. I would not recommend this to rock and roll fans, to David Bowie fans, the fans of biopics, the fans of movies, the fans of road trips. I don't recommend this to anyone. All right, guys, that was my review. Let me know in the comments what you think of Stardust. If you did happen to check it out, let me know what other biopics you'd like to see. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Check out some of the other videos I have on my channel, and I'll see you guys next time for another one.